causing me problems. I'm going to get started on this and try to move through it really quickly. I'm going to discuss federalism to begin with. Holland Feldmeyer on page 53 defined federalism as pertaining to a system of government that is federal in nature, the system by which the states of the U.S. relate to one another and the federal government. And then on page 238, they discuss issues that a state law that affects commerce with other nations is voided by a treaty with contrary provisions. Federalism, to me, I believe that the federal government and the state government tend to butt heads in certain issues. One of them would be medical marijuana and legalization of recreational marijuana in Colorado. Many people believe that that is not something that they want to have within their state, but the Coloradans have voted and their voice was heard and is now legal here. But yet the federal government doesn't recognize that. So you can still be charged federally for possessing marijuana, for distributing marijuana, for growing plants. You can be charged federally with interstate trafficking if you live in Kansas and you come to Colorado and purchase marijuana and take that back home to Kansas. That is interstate trafficking, and Kansas also doesn't recognize that it's legal, so you'll get charged within the Kansas justice system. So there is a lack of concerted efforts to ensure that what some states are doing is in line with the federal government, but states do have rights. Our framers did not want to give all the power to the federal government. They wanted the states to ensure that they had some rights in order to run their states as they felt was necessary. The people within the state of Colorado, it was put on a ballot, it was voted. It was voted to be part of our law that it is legal to use recreational marijuana, which I do not agree with, but the voters have spoken. Gay marriage is another one. A lot of states have brought it to their constituents and put it to vote, and it has been shot down. But yet the federal government has decided via the Supreme Court that the gay marriage is now allowed, and it is now the law of the land. I believe the federal government has overstepped their bounds in that area as well. They Many states have spoken and their voice was heard, and they said that they did not want it to be legal in their state. But yet the federal government has now said that federal law trumps state law. It is now legal. Another one would be Obamacare. Many states took issue with the Obamacare. They even brought civil suits against the president because they did not want to have a national health care system or a state-run health care system. But unfortunately, the Supreme Court shot that one down as well, and it is now law of the land as well. If you do not have health care, then you will be fined. I believe that is a person's individual choice. If they choose to not have insurance and they get sick, God forbid, then they're the ones that have to deal with the consequences, and they have to figure out how to access the healthcare system and pay for any kind of treatment. But that is an individual right, and it's a state right. States have tried to institute some sort of statewide health care. It has been brought on a ballot, and it has been shot down by the constituents. But then the federal government steps in and says now it is the law of the land. The framers didn't intend for the federal government to have all of this power, but I think as the framers didn't intend for our society to be as densely populated as it is, and for it to be as not difficult, but complex. And the federal government feels that it is necessary for them to step in and do what is right for the nation as a whole when individual states don't agree with it. And I believe that the states should have the right to run their state as the constituents in that state want it to be run, and the federal government should not be stepping in that business. The next one is going to be on the three rights that select three of our individual rights and discuss their importance to you. The first one is going to be freedom of speech. Um, there's a whole movement called Black Lives Matter. I think that all lives matter, and I don't feel like I could go to my news and say, I don't think it's just Black lives that matter. I think that all lives matter. As a Christian, I think all lives matter. And I don't believe in the death penalty. I don't believe that I'm judge and jury and that we should execute somebody for what they've done. I believe that God will be the ultimate judge and jury for that individual. It's not me who chooses when that person lives and when that person dies. I I I don't feel like I could go and say I don't agree with the Black Lives Matter movement because I think it's an all lives matter. It should be an all lives matter movement. We shouldn't have senseless killings. We shouldn't have crime that we have, but unfortunately we do. But I know that if I were to go and say that on the news, I would be persecuted. I would be ridiculed. I would be harassed. So I don't believe that my freedom of speech is being protected because I can't feel what is in, I cannot say what is in my heart and what I feel, and that is all lives matter. And I don't feel like I would be backed up in that sense. I think that I would be come down with a rain of force. So I feel like my freedom of speech is squelched in that instance. The next one is going to be the right to bear arms. I have a huge issue with the right to bear arms. We're gun owners. We have lots of guns. My children have been brought up around guns. We go target shooting. We go hunting. They have hunter safety cards. We've taught them. They've been raised around them. They have no curiosity. They know what a gun does. It's not a toy, and they realize this. Guns don't kill people. It's the person who pulls the trigger. If I drive a car and kill somebody, we're not going to say ban cars. Cars don't kill people. It's the person that is moving that vehicle. It's whether it's negligence or a DUI or intentional, whatever that reason. It's not the car driving itself. It's the person that's doing it. I don't believe it's a gun issue that we have. I believe it's an education issue that we have. It's an issue of morals. We're not teaching our children the right morals. Lives matter. You don't do that to an individual. You need to have a better heart. You need to believe that what you do affects everybody around you. It's morality. And I believe that it's a mental health issue. We need to have better access to mental health care, better access to psychiatrists, better access to drugs. We don't have that in this society. It can cost thousands upon thousands of dollars to go into treatment. And many of the people that are mentally ill do not have the access to the funds or the insurance that actually pays for that type of treatment. So I don't think it's a gun issue. I don't think we need to take our guns away. I think we need to educate our children. I think we need to teach them morals and teach them godly ways. And I think we need to have better access to the healthcare system. The last one is going to be the 14th Amendment, and I have a huge issue with the 14th Amendment. My great-grandfather was brought here from Mexico to live on a reservation in South Dakota to work. He was brought here against his will. He married a Sioux Indian woman and had a child, which would be my grandfather. They had several children. But that would mean that if you listen to what Trump says, my grandfather is not a legal citizen. My great grandfather wasn't. I realized this, but my grandfather was born here. He's not a legal citizen. He was born on a reservation, which would therefore make my father not a legal citizen because he was born on a reservation and would make me an illegal citizen as well. I don't agree with that. Everybody that comes to this nation comes to this nation to better themselves and to make a better life for their children. We need to make it easier to become legal within the state. It can take up to 10 years to become legal. That is absolutely asinine. We need to make it a little more streamlined process. They can't afford to hire attorneys to help them with this. They are supporting themselves and supporting their families and sending money back to their families in their home country. They're not able to afford an attorney. And a lot of them can't speak or read or write in English, and we're expecting them to pick up these forms and learn everything. The test they take. The test they take is intense. Many people that were born and raised in the United States probably couldn't pass that test if they went to take it today, but they're asked to pass this test in order to become a United States citizen, which I think is great because they're learning about the country. But we're not doing anything to help them with that process by making them wait 10 years. Many illegal immigrants that come here want to be able to vote. They want to join in the political process, run for office, pay taxes, send their children to college, and they cannot do this if it takes 10 years and thousands of dollars in order to do this. It's not an issue of immigration and illegal immigrants. It's an issue of paperwork and bureaucracy. We need to make it easier for them to do it the correct way and the proper way and to come here and enjoy the American dream. Our founders wanted the United States to be a melting pot. That's what made our culture so great. All these different nationalities coming together. And I don't think they even could fathom what we are going through nowadays. They wanted us to be able to have a right to bear arms. I don't think they could have fathomed that people were going to go in and do mass shootings just because they didn't like somebody, or because they were schizophrenic and somebody told them to do it, or because their children were raised with no morals, or because the child was curious about a gun. I don't think that they could even begin to fathom the freedom of speech issues that we have nowadays. I think that our society has become so densely populated and so convoluted that the founders couldn't even begin to process what the United States would be like in 2015, in 2010, even in 2000. They gave us these rights and they limited the government rights for a specific reason in order to allow the states to continue to have rights to control their state and to allow the citizens to have rights and the federal government to not be able to run everything and make it one national system like socialism. But I don't think the founders could have even fathomed the issues that we're having nowadays. I don't think they could have fathomed the immorality. I don't think they could have fathomed so many people not believing in God and not going to church and not reverting back to their Bible and not fellowshipping with one another. I don't think they could fathom people doing mass shootings. I don't think they could fathom us turning away people in their time of need and making them go back to a country that they're afraid that they may not live. I just don't think that they could fathom anything that we are going through nowadays. But I also don't believe that our rights should be trampled on because they couldn't fathom it. Our rights are our rights, and they shouldn't be hindered because of scare tactics, because of immorality because of a godliness and people no longer teaching their children morals. Thank you for allowing me to turn this in late. Hopefully I can get this to upload. This is my fourth try this evening. You have a great evening. Thank you.